You'll find out that most of the zoo worker's job is shoveling shit, Kyle tells me as he removes heavy shovels from a storage closet. When I was in kindergarten, I once brought different kinds of poop for show and tell. He looks at something behind me and grins. Hi, Dylan. This is Leia, my friend. Hey, Dylan says. He looks big. That's all I notice when I glance at him and nod a greeting. You got your friend a uniform? He asks Kyle. I stare down at the oversized zoo t-shirt Kyle found me, and I've pulled on over my own long-sleeve shirt. I hold out the edges so I can admire the upside-down zoo logo and the words Pilgrim Zoo in bright orange letters. I can't believe I'm wearing one. Leia loves animals, Kyle says. I told her she could help out. He holds his arms out. I mean, if she actually wants to shovel animal excrement, who am I to deny her? Dylan shakes a finger at us. As long as your mom agrees, and as long as both of you follow the rules, and always, always do as I say. Kyle bows. Always, Master Dylan, always. Well, if you're going to make your lady work, here's the tool of the trade. Dylan tosses a shovel toward me and I grab it, then follow Kyle along a narrow path toward the elephant zone. Dylan comes after us. Was your teacher impressed with your show and tell, I ask? I don't remember much from when I was little, and the only thing I remember bringing to show and tell was a seashell my mom had collected when she was a kid. It wasn't very pretty in itself, but she told me there'd been a pearl inside. There wasn't any more. My teacher complained about a stink, even if the containers were closed, but the other kids were impressed. I smile, noticing the unfamiliar muscles move in my face. Did you collect it yourself? Yeah. Mom took me into the habitats and I collected the specimens myself with a small green shovel and put them in petri dishes with lids. Sounds like fun. The animals all seemed bigger back then, Kyle says. Everything in the zoo was bigger. All the animals seem smaller now, except for the elephants. They're always huge. He pulls a keychain from his pocket and unlocks a small door and we enter a dark stable. It stinks. Dylan comes through the door after us. I follow Kyle until we're inside the large elephant arena. Kyle puts the fruit bucket down and the elephants start approaching. I back away as the elephants get closer. They seem bigger here than from the other side. Not as big as in my dream, but big and not scary, but intimidating. I back into something and jump. Watch out, Dylan says. Careful, no sudden moves. Why, I ask, what could happen? They're friendly, Kyle says. Don't worry, don't scare her, Dylan. Well, the two of you are my responsibility while you're in here, so be very careful. Are they dangerous? Yes, Dylan says, if they're angry or afraid, or by accident if we're not careful enough. Stop scaring her, Kyle says. Leia, these guys are very friendly. They won't trample on you. Well, not unless you give them a reason, Dylan adds. My legs are trembling a bit as I picture one of those giants sitting down on me, accidentally or not. Give them a reason? What kind of reason would they be looking for? Don't worry, here. Kyle tosses me an apple. Give this to Calliope. She's the baby's mom. They're all protective of Leda, but you really want to get on Calliope's good side. She's very open to bribery. I hold out the apple. It's like a dream when the giant animal approaches, reaches toward me with her trunk, softly takes the apple from my trembling hand and pops it into her mouth. Then her trunk hovers in front of my face, asking for more. The large eyes beseeching me, staring into me until I want to build her an altar and pile 100 apples on top. Wow, I whisper, as her trunk weaves around my wrist, searching for another apple. I have goosebumps all over my body. Wow, wow. Dylan chuckles. You'll be fine. She likes you and the rest will follow. Just be careful, no sudden moves and no loud noises. Check their drinking water, Kyle says from a few feet away. Over there, just check that it's clean and that the drain is working. Dylan moves away, but the baby follows me to the trough, dipping her trunk into the water. She's beautiful. I watch as she points the trunk into her mouth and squirts the water inside. It's almost like she's laughing. Everything okay, Kyle asks? He's pushing wheelbarrows. I thought elephants use their trunk to drink like a straw. Nah, Kyle says. That would be like us drinking from their noses, our noses. Which, while something I have attempted on occasion, I wouldn't recommend doing on a daily basis. Oh, I have read a lot of books, but I bet there are still a million things I thought I knew but really don't. Okay, now we get to the fun part. Get your shovel. Use gloves. You'll need them or your hands will blister. Well, they'll probably blister anyway, but not as quickly. Elephant poop is heavy and stinky, and there's a lot of it. We shovel it into the wheelbarrows and haul everything away to a manure dumpster. Okay, Kyle says, tossing his gloves into a pile. Now we sweep outside. I follow him, looking over my shoulders back at the elephants. I pause as baby lady reaches up to her mother with her trunk, and stop and turn around when Calliope lies down and rolls on her back in the sand. Come on, Kyle says, holding the door open. Wait, I say. I hold my breath while Calliope lumbers to her feet again. You're slowing me down, Kyle grumbles, as he finally gets me out of the elephant habitat and locks the door behind me. Tomorrow you'll be on your own for a lot of these chores, so pay attention. What are you doing tomorrow? Hanging out with my friends, Kyle says, or as Mum would say, keeping bad company. As long as my chores are done and they see me every now and then, Mum and her fellow prison wardens will assume I'm somewhere around. They may ask you, You'll tell me them I'm around. I'll show up somewhere a couple times and make sure someone sees me. As long as you keep your end of the bargain, it'll work. I picture myself lying to faceless people, answering questions, blushing and stuttering like I always do. What if they don't believe me? You make them believe you. If you want to stay, that's what you do. We move from one habitat to another, feeding, cleaning, playing with the animals, and in between there are floors to sweep and chairs to wipe down. There are no visitors, but there are people, staff, Kyle's friends. He introduces me as my friend Leia, which makes me feel strange, but I manage to smile at people and sometimes shake their hands. She's a bit shy, Kyle mutters once or twice when people ask me something and I start to stutter. He glares at me and I feel stupid and useless, but keeping Calliope and baby Leda in my mind helps. I'm exhausted by the time Kyle announces his chores are done. Time for a shower, he says, then I'm out of here for the day. He gestures to the administrative building. Do you want me to show you where the women's showers are? I gape at him. What? He asks. Did you say showers? I ask. Scratch my head where it itches and nearly drool with joy. Believe me, you need one, Kyle says. I almost skip after him into the building. He vanishes through one door after pointing out another one for me. The doors have the typical male and female signs on them. It is the promised land, a real shower with a lock on the door, soap and shampoo and pile of towels, warm water. I shower with my eyes closed and realize Mom was so wrong about shampoo being overrated. With reluctance, I pull my old clothes on again and decide to splurge on a t-shirt and shorts at the souvenir shop. At this point, I'd rather be hungry than dirty. It's not easy to decide whose tail I want on my shorts, but the shirt I grab in an instant, a gray one with the profile of an elephant's head on the front. One large eye stares out from my collarbone and the trunk hangs down to my hip. One ivory tusk crosses my front like a sword. I leave the souvenir shop, put on my new clothes in the restroom and wash my old ones in the sink, and wonder where I can leave them to dry. For now I put them in the bag my new clothes came in. By habit I shuffle back in the direction of my cage like I'm going home, but the zoo is open now and my cage is occupied. I sit on the bench outside and stare at the children playing in the hay in my bed and think about the elephants, the trunk on my hands, the large legs, the dark tough hide, the intelligence in their eyes, the soft bleating as Calliope calls baby Leda to her side. I close my eyes and I imagine myself tottering around the elephant enclosure. I wish I could sleep inside. I wish I could curl up underneath an elephant between the four giant legs with a comforting belly a canopy above me. I feel like I could sleep there forever, a deep, dark, refreshing sleep with the elephant guarding over me. I wish I were Leda, not a fake Leia.